Hey, this is Dave Blair, and we're going for a speaker shootout today. So we got a Celestion Vintage 30 going up against a Scumback J75. Celestion Vintage 30, big speaker in the 80s. It's about I think it's a 60-watt speaker. It's kind of known for being able to cut through in a mix because it's got some upper mids and some highs that kind of cut through, which could be a good thing or bad thing depending what you're going for. Some people love it, some people hate it. So we'll try it out today. Also, we have a Scumback J75. A little bit about the Scumback. It's kind of not scumbag, Scumback, B-A-C-K. Just cool name, actually. Either you love that name or hate that name. I think it's kind of cool. So the M75 is kind of modeled after the old Celestion Greenback speakers in the 60s, the 70s. That's the sound of classic rock with a Marshall, from Jimi Hendrix to, Van Halen, and everything in between. So you have the M75. You have the H75, which is a heavier magnet. It can handle a lot more power. I think 75 watts. The J75 is right in the middle. And to my ears, the heavier magnet on the H75 was a little bit more of an even sound. It was a little less of that mid-range, old school sound, a little more modern sounding. I could see it being a little more flexible for different genres. But I was kind of torn because I like the classic sound, and I like the H75 being a little more even and open. So the J75 is right in the middle. So, the guys at Scumback kind of recommended for the styles that I do, and I do a wide range of styles from Niles Rodgers to Eddie Van Halen and everything in between. They said the J75 or H75 would be right up, better. They said the J75 or the H75 would be the best match. So let's check it out. We're going through a Friedman Spallbacks. We're going to hit the clean channel. We're going to hit the dirty channel. We're using a Les Paul. I'm not going to give you all the specs on what kind of magnets and screws and everything on it. It's a freaking Les Paul. You're going to be able to hear the difference between the speakers. It's going through a Bogner 1x12 cube cab. Going to do the Celestion Vintage 30 against the Scumback J75. Okay, we heard those speakers, and everybody's gonna have a different opinion. Obviously, I think when I'm from the Vintage 30, I'm hearing that yes, it cuts through, has that bright end, but to my ears, it can potentially be harsh. I've found from using it over the years. I'm always trying to kind of dial back a little the highs and some of the messing with the mids to kind of make sure it's not harsh. And I think the Scumbag is a little bit more smoother on that stuff. I think this Scumbag really nails that old, from the Van Halen and the ZZ Top type stuff. just an old, I mean, it really nails that sound, and it pairs perfectly to a Marshall-esque type of amp, and the Friedman is that. Uh, so if you're using Friedman, Metropolis, Marshall, anything like that, I think that Scumback is a really nice pairing. The Vintage 30 is a very certain thing. I think it was associated with a lot of 80s stuff. To my ears, I think I got to use it for a bunch of gigs, but to my ears, I'm kind of liking it, and I might be using that going forward. But we'll see. I'll post an update after I play a bunch of gigs with it. Awesome. Post your comments. Tell me what you think.